It's time to graduate to something with a little more firepower, and for that I have the Heckler & Koch MP5A2. And the MP5 base variant was featured in CS 1.6 and CS Source. Unfortunately, it met its demise in CSGO, where it was replaced by the UMP or the MP9, however that really worked out. But we have it here, and it is a slightly different variant. The A2, we have a full Picatinny rail on top, full fixed stock, and a slightly different front foregrip with a space for a flashlight attachment. You can see, pretty cool. Going to be handy in some dark situations, but luckily it's light enough in here that we don't have to worry about that. So let's work our way around the gun, give you an overview. It fires from a closed bolt position, and this is our charging handle. You see that working the bolt. You can also lock this up for easier reloads when you're slipping in a full magazine, and that gives it the classic ability to kind of knock it down like that for the cool reload animations that you can see in some games. We have our sights back here. We have kind of an open V battle sight for close range scenarios and quick acquisition of that front sight post. You can also flip it to a couple different ones, a couple peep sights with different diameters, which will let you try and focus into a closer range or a longer range situation. We're going to just leave it in open here because with the HMD of the HCC Vive package, it's a little bit hard to see down at that front sight post. I'm going to leave it the way it is. Other than that, we have safe, single fire, and fully automatic. You can see a nice little graphic there, so it's kind of multilingual. And that's about it. A lot of polymer, got a metal receiver, but I think we're ready to shoot it. So this is firing the 9mm Parabellum, the 9x19 round, which is the same round that we used in the Beretta video. So that really underscores the fact that this is a personal defense weapon, submachine gun, really for use in close quarter situations. You know, it has a longer barrel, so you can kind of get some more accuracy and better muzzle velocity, but it's really going to be something for close quarter situations like SWAT teams, which it's very popular with. So we're going to load it on up. I'm going to charge the bolt with the front handle, let it slide forward, and just fire off 30 in single fire mode. I'm not really sure where those were going because it's kind of hard to see that front sight post with my HMD. So let's bring that on back and we can take a closer look. To eject the magazine, which I did there kind of quickly, you have the little latch there, and normally you're going to use this with your left hand. You're going to grab the magazine and use your thumb to pull it out. Whoops. But in this game, we can actually use down on the thumb pad to let it drop out. Now that would be kind of difficult if you're doing that in real life with your right hand because it's hard to get your finger out there and that spring is pretty tight. So that's actually pretty good for our first 30 rounds. How do we do? 285 points at 10 meters with 30 rounds. Cool, thumbs up. So let's go back to 30, clear off the paper. Back to 30, and this time, full auto mode. Accidentally let go of the grip there. Kind of tricky with these grip buttons. Woo! That is fun. Look at that smoke and all these little rounds hanging out. Let's bring it on back. So how do we do? Not too bad. Pull down to the left a little bit too much, but we did 22 points less at 263 versus 285 for the first one. Alrighty, let's send it back out. And this time, since we have a bunch of extra magazines, what happened there? It's like all the way in the gun. We're going to do some speed shooting and speed reloading. Now for this, I'm going to be using this little cutout feature because, well, it looks cooler. And the reason that you would use that, let me grab an empty. I kind of explained this earlier, but not in detail, is when you're firing out a full magazine, it doesn't lock back the bolt automatically. So you're going to have to charge it regardless. And when you pull out the empty and try and load in a full magazine, now this thing is under a lot of pressure. That spring, when empty, goes the whole length of this magazine. So when you have 30 rounds in there, it's really compressed, so it's really forcing those bullets up. And it's really hard to get this magazine in there when you have the bolt closed because it's actually pushing up against the bottom of the bolt, or bolt carrier, bolt receiver, however it's set up. So when you lock it back like this, you kind of do the charging beforehand and it's completely open. We can actually see through it like that. So when you're putting it in, it just slides in, and the only resistance is getting past this little handle spring that holds the magazine in there. So when you're ready to go, you just slap it forward, which, you know, it's metal, so it's fine, but it will wear down that a little bit. It's all good because it's virtual anyways. So we've got, let's grab one extra magazine to put on the vest. So we're going to do 3 or 4 30 rounders, 120 total rounds downrange. What happened there? Not really sure. It did play kind of a weird sound. Oh, I forgot to pull that back. Where it may have kind of double cocked it. I'm really not sure. As I mentioned, my controllers are a little wonky. So who knows what I might have accidentally pressed. Well, there we go. Coming back, I can't actually see that. Oh, there they go. Now I can see them. Woo! Down at the bottom, it looks like we might have overcompensated for recoil a little bit, but that's okay. How do we do? Over 1,000 points with 120 rounds. I don't really feel like doing the math there, but they're predominantly in the darker gray section. So that's cool. For the next section, we're going to be moving on and talking a little bit about the attachments that come with a gun in the spawner. You can use a lot of different attachments, but I'm just going to keep it with the ones that come with the gun so we can kind of go over them with each gun. So let's put this out at, let's say 25 meters for our next part. So let's unload this, make sure it's clear. Might as well lock the bolt back so everyone knows that we're being safe. And throw on a red dot sight. So this is a neat red dot, definitely goes with this gun because it is raised up to go over the standard iron sights. So we can see a nice red dot, who would have guessed, in the middle there for target acquisition. And in case that fails, you can see there's kind of a tunnel down below that'll let us go right back to the backup sights in case of a battery failure, or it gets smashed or dirty, or whatever. So let's try single fire, 30 rounds with just the red dot out at 25 meters. Okie doke. Come on back, paper. So that was 242 points. We did a little bit worse than our fully automatic 30 shots at 10 meters, but that's not bad. It's good accuracy, not bad precision. I think that's the way it goes. But now to kind of bring that grouping in a little bit closer to the center, let's give ourselves a little bit more room. We're going to add on a magnifier, and it's not labeled as such, but this really looks like an eject 3x magnifier, one that I've been coveting for a long time. And the coolness of this is that it works in conjunction with your front sight. So if we look down, we can see it is in fact magnified to 3 times. Let's just make sure. Actually, it's hard to adjust here because the only function that I know how to do is to flip it to the side, which lets us go back to a 1-to-1 magnification. Or no magnification. So it's kind of neat. You can kind of flip it out and not have to worry about changing it up with the rails and keeping it aligned. So that's a neat little feature. So we're going to see if this helps us at all with our final 30 rounds. So keeping this in single fire again, which isn't as interesting as full auto. You can see with that magnification, it looks like I'm swaying a lot more than I did, but that's just because our sight picture is zoomed in a bit. That felt better. So what do we have on the first one? 242, and we moved on up to 262. Now that is a lot less goofy looking than the last one. The last one really was working all the way out here, and this one's a little bit tighter up to the north. But there you go. That's how it is. We did okay, and just the versatility of this flip to side is just kind of a neat feature, even if it does add a little bit of weight. So there you have it. Let's put this back in so it has the classic look. MP5A2, firing the 9mm, 30 rounds, fully automatic. So thanks so much for watching. Thumbs up if you liked the video and you liked the virtual gun. Thumbs down if you didn't, and let me know in the comments if you have suggestions. But next up, we have the MP5's little brother, the MP5K, so stay tuned for that video.